Welcome back to The Dive. Today we're chatting with John Reade, Chief Market Strategist at World Gold Council. But before we dive into it, if you could consider giving us a subscribe below, that would be great. Hey John, welcome to The Dive.
Thanks, Cassandra. Pleasure to be here.
Okay, so let's start off the top. What is the investment case for gold?
I think that the case for gold is a very simple one. It's been a source of returns in your portfolio for many years. It's not just there for periods of inflation or periods of economic recession. It's been a source of returns in your portfolio over the medium to long term. I think the second key argument for gold is it's a fantastic portfolio diversifier. It is generally uncorrelated to other assets, particularly uncorrelated to equities. But when equities fall fast, it then becomes negatively correlated to equities historically. And that's really what you want. You want to be in something which is negatively correlated to equities, which does when they do really badly. So the combination of those things, returns plus great diversification, has a decent impact on a portfolio. It increases the risk-adjusted return of that portfolio. And we've looked at portfolios across the world, and it doesn't matter whether you're looking in US dollars, whether you're looking in sterling, whether you're looking in euro terms, having an appropriate allocation to gold, which generally works out between 5 and 10%, depending on the country and depending on the portfolio. That helps protect your portfolio and has been a source of returns for that portfolio as well. So really, that's the investment case for gold.
So what are the major demand segments of gold? And what are we seeing right now in terms of flows into each segment?
Yeah, normally you can divide gold demand up into sort of two big areas. One is a consumer area, which is jewelry and going into technology, because a lot of gold used in pretty much every electronic device. So that makes up about 42% of demand. And then you look at the investment side of it, which is about the same size. And that's investment, whether it's in physical bars and coins or in investment products like exchange traded funds. And then the final component, I guess, you have central bank purchases as well. So you've got a decent split between those two sources of demand on the consumer side and on the investment side as well.
So how important is sentiment for the price of gold?
Sentiment is a driver. There's no doubt about that. If we look at the drivers of gold, you can divide it up into a number of categories. One of those, and the most important one, is economic growth, because so much of demand goes into this consumer segment that economic growth and prosperity is really important. But on the other hand, we also get risk and uncertainty. So when people are worried, when they're concerned, that can drive investment demand into gold as well. Opportunity cost, particularly interest rates, are a big driver of gold. And then the final one is momentum. So sentiment plays out in a number of ways. It plays out firstly through that risk and uncertainty side. When people are concerned about the economic outcomes for the world, that tends to make them positively disposed towards gold. And similarly, when gold is trending, whether it's up or down, that affects the sentiment as well. So sentiment is a key factor. It's not the most important factor, but it's certainly a key factor in the makeup of gold demand.
So you are with the World Gold Council, which has become a wealth of information for those trying to understand the supply and demand landscape. Can you tell us about how the World Gold Council started and its overall mandate?
Sure. I think it's 33 or 34 years ago that the World Gold Council was formed by, in those days, the leading gold miners around the world. And I think that they wanted to put together an organization that would help make the case for gold. Now, back in the early days, we were very heavily involved with gold jewelry, because gold jewelry made up such a large component then of demand for gold. But as times have changed over the last 30 years, we've shifted to becoming much more focused on investment. As investment has become a larger component of gold demand, we spend most of our time, and myself as Chief Market Strategist and Head of Research, spend all of my time making the case for gold to investors primarily.
So what do you think are some of the greatest myths you hear from gold investors?
There's lots of them. I mean, they can range from. I've seen discoveries reported on social media of enormously wealthy gold deposits that are going to make everybody rich, and it then turns out that this actually isn't gold. It would be something like iron porites, known as fool's gold. That's one big myth I see regularly rolled out. Some other myths too. We often hear people say that fiat currencies are doomed and that we're going to return to the gold standard and gold will suddenly become enormously more valuable. And I think this topic is spoken about a lot, and I think far too much is made of it. You know, the fiat currency system, or the dollars, the pounds, the euros in your pocket, yeah, it has its troubles from time to time, but they seem to be on the whole pretty well managed by central banks and governments. Inflation's been under control now for the last 20 or 30 years. I don't see any imminent threat to this. And to go back to a gold standard would have such major international implications. It would be a decision that would be taken when every other step has failed. So that's a big myth, I think, that we hear too much of. Gold to me is a sensible investment asset. It's not going to be replacing dollars, euros, pounds, yen anytime soon.
Okay, so John, last question here. For investors looking to learn more, where can they find your platform? And is there any upcoming research they should look out for?
Yeah, I mean, we have all of our research and data online in a website, gold.org, and specifically Gold Hub, which is where we house all of this data and research. That's available. Have a look there. It's free, just requires registration to get at it. And you'll see all of our research and data contained there. The next big piece of research we're going to be launching will be Gold Demand Trends, which is a quarterly publication. That'll discuss how all the various gold demand segments have performed in the first quarter, as well as a commentary on supply as well. And that'll be out towards the end of April. It's going to show some big changes, a big increase in consumer demand, which was flattened last year by the coronavirus pandemic, and a bit of a slowdown in investment demand as well. So it's going to be an important publication, and I encourage everybody to go to the site and have a look at it there.
Awesome, I'll check it out. Well, thank you so much for joining us today on The Dive, John.
Thank you, Cassandra. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. And if you like this video, subscribe below or check out some of our other small cap coverage at www.thedeepdive.ca.